Alright, very good evening. I will be starting this session in another 1 minute. Today's session is basically focusing on US and how to get admission into top colleges in US. Now before I commence this session, do forgive me for this Devadas look. As I say, I'm trying to grow my beard for the first time in my life, and therefore this is the ugly duckling stage, alright. Hopefully I will grow to become a beautiful swan. I will be commencing, as I said, in another 1 minute the session, and meanwhile all of you people who are here are welcome. I'm going to be requesting all of you people who are watching this to just type in a comment as to from where you're logging in, so that, and in case you do have any queries, remember this is a live session that is being broadcasted through a webinar. So I will be taking the queries as well up. So feel free to ask any questions you have on international admission consultancy. Alright, very good evening. It's 6 and this webinar is to start at 6. So we are on time. May I welcome all of you people to this webinar. I believe quite a few people, including our own partners from Tirupati and their clients, are actually watching this. Very good evening. What I am going to be doing in this seminar is to talk about what a candidate should be doing to get an admit into a top college. This is a peak time when quite a few students from across India will be applying to colleges across the world. And our first preference, President Trump or no Trump, has always been and will continue to be United States of America. Not because we love that fatherland, or not because we believe that President Trump might not actually continue. It's more because the best of the best colleges that are there across the world, majority of them are in US, and I will be discussing this in detail as I go forward. It's also because the job opportunity wise, US always has been the number one, and therefore the preference has always been there. Now, for many of us coming from middle class families, we should never forget the fact that education is an investment, it's not an expense. Which basically means that when we go and do our higher education, it's because we, our parents and all the loved ones, expect us to take benefit of this higher education to get a good job. Now, many of us who are going abroad, our agenda, however, is little more wider. Majority of us who go abroad are not going there only for higher education with the plan then of returning to India. Majority of us probably would like to keep our plans a little flexible. Quite a few of us probably would like to start our career there and continue living there. And yes, the trends are changing from the brain drain. We are today talking about reverse brain drain, where there are many Indians who are coming back after higher education, but let's not forget, it's not immediately back, it's after having worked there for some time. Therefore, whichever country you are preferring, one of the very important things I keep reminding my students is, don't just look at how good the colleges are, look at the other policy things like whether the job opportunity is there or not, racism will be there or not, how much will be the budget that is there. So many other questions do come into play. So when I am advising my students, I try to understand the motivation and accordingly change my recommendations too. Today is not about which country, the focus is on US. Today, however, what I will be doing is I will be focusing on one very important thing which I have noticed. Quite a few students I notice play defensive. What does defensive mean? They try to go to those colleges where they know they will get an admit. And for me, that's a sin. Remember, in India, we have quite a few great colleges, we have average colleges, we have useless colleges. The same thing is true in US too. There are great colleges, there are average colleges, and there are useless colleges. And obviously, if you go down the ranking, your chances of getting an admit is going to be much higher. But if you were to only aspire for that, you probably will get an admit. But at the end of the day, remember, your goal is not just that. Your goal is, after you pass out of your masters, you need to get a good job. And a definition of a good job is not just that pays you well, also that facilitates you getting the H-1B visa that is required for you to continue working in US, and later plan for probably the permanent residency, as we call as. So the point that you need to understand therefore is that this is a wider objective, and you should never forget that wider objective that we are talking about. Alright, let the questions continue to fly. I will be addressing these issues as I go forward, but before I go, let me quickly run through few of the things I have done in the past. Last week I talked about what should a student with a weak profile or an average profile do. Alright, now what I am going to be talking this session is going to be focusing on how you can get into Ivy League schools. Now before I go forward, let me make one point clear. Ivy League as a term is limited to a set of colleges in the northeast of America. Now, why is it called Ivy League? There's a lot of debate on that. Many people say initially it was not IVY, it was IV, which is a Roman for 4, because there were 4 colleges in the northeast which came together. Harvard, Princeton, Dartmouth, and of course the 4th one I believe is one of this. Alright, so there were 4 colleges, therefore the Roman IV came into picture. But today when I talk about IV, I am not just limiting to the IV institutions or the league institutions. I am talking about top colleges in US, which are quite a few in number. Now, how interesting, and how, when I define the word top is a relative term. How top are they? Now, these are the colleges which I talk about, the creme de la creme. Alright. Now, if you were to look at it, you will notice the fact that the colleges which are there are MIT, the best of the best that we talk about Stanford, we talk about University of California, Berkeley. Now the beauty is all these colleges are not technically Ivy League institutions. Remember, I told you Ivy League institutions are institutions which are a set of colleges in the northeastern side of the US, but they are the best. Now how good are these? Now these are probably the top 20 colleges that we are talking about in the world, as well as probably in US as well. How great are these? To understand how great are these, let me go back and talk about Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Now for people who do not know me, my name is Mohamed Abdullah. I am an expert when it comes to the international admission consultancy, apart from a few other things too. I am also the CEO of Conduira. I have been training students for the past 15 years and guiding students to various colleges abroad as well. I have All India rank 17 in GATE and did join Indian Institute of Science Bangalore, otherwise known as IISc Bangalore, which is the best you have in India when it comes to the masters. Alright. Now, how good is IISc Bangalore when we look at it globally? Now, the QS ranking of IISc Bangalore is in 251 to 300. Now, QS ranking is one of the very standard and accepted ranking of institutions in the world. Now, remember, the best of the best that we have in India, in Institute of Science Bangalore for Masters program, if you were to look at its global ranking, it's ranked at 250th to 300 band. And when I say MIT is 1 in the world, I hope you understand how beautiful that college is therefore. So today I am not just going to talk about the top 20 colleges in US, I am going to talk about top colleges in US, and for me the definition of top college would be any college that can probably get you a salary of about, let's say, 60,000 to 70,000 USD per annum to start with, and more importantly, alright, do have a reputation across the world. So I am going to be targeting the top 60 colleges. I keep telling my students, if you are able to make an entry into the top 60 colleges in US, it's an attempt worth fighting for. So why exactly is it so important? Alright, so let me continue with this and then I will take the questions. The point that you need to understand is going to the top college basically brings about quite a few beautiful things. Good learning experience, good industry linkages, starting salaries are good, the job is competitive, it can lead to H-1B visa, and of course it has an international brand pull. Now I am going to be elaborating on these. Why should you not compromise on the college? Quite often, I find one of the very important reasons why students prefer a given college is because my senior has gone there. Or it could be because my father, my uncle, talked about it. Or because I have a relative in that area. For me, that's a sin. Now, I give you my own background. I'm a Tamilian, but I came and established my business in Andhra Pradesh. When I say Andhra, I'm including Telangana and Andhra. Erstwhile, the mix that we talk about, the reason was very simple, opportunity was here. So we have to go to the land of opportunity. So when you go to US, but you select only limited colleges, simply because you know something about the college, because your seniors have gone there, etc., that would be sin. You should look at the whole spectrum of colleges that are there in US and try to maximize going up. And why is it important? Now that is where I'm going to be defining about learning experience, industry linkage, and starting job and salary. To explain this, you need to understand what exactly happens in MS. When you go to a good college, and why is that US is so strong in the quality of education? Because quality of education in the US is driven by the corporates. So what happens is that when you go to US, you realize the fact that many of the research that is happening actually in education institutions, I'm talking about academic institutions, are those which are funded by the corporate. Now, is it that that's not happening in India? No, it has started happening in India. For example, if you have ever been to IIIT Hyderabad, you will be surprised pleasantly the fact that quite a few research work that's happening is actually industry driven. But that has been the culture in US for donkey years now. Okay? So what exactly happens is that industry is actually paying for the research, which obviously means that the research you are doing is not research of yesterday or of today, it's the research of tomorrow. So, because industry is not going to fund research of the past, so you as students, because you are going to participate in that research, you are actually being exposed to the future technologies, and that is why your market value is going to be phenomenally heavy. Now, how is this implemented? One of the greatest way it's implemented is through the professors. So the professors who are going to be there in the college are going to be teaching, yes, but they are also going to be sitting in the board of a lot of companies, all right? And more importantly, they also will be consultants to a lot of companies and doing a lot of research work. So guess what? The network that they have with the industry is beautiful. And why is that important? Because if you are their student, then they are going to help you get jobs in these future-oriented companies. And that is why the top colleges do phenomenal research, they do future research, they do well-funded research because they don't depend on government alone for funding, they depend on corporates too, and you as students get exposed to those. You are interacting with faculty members who understand the industry and have network with the industry, and therefore you can get good jobs. And what do good jobs mean? Good jobs basically means higher salaries, and the moment higher salary comes, obviously the company is also going to be good. And this is where one more very important element comes, H-1B visa. Now, understand the fact that the H-1B visa is a lottery system, no doubt about it, but companies do influence it. One of the ways they influence this is by defining the nature of a job. US says if the job is competitive, if the job is advanced, then the H-1B visa will be given. So what happens is when you lead companies, when you enter into companies which are giving you advanced jobs, your chances of getting H-1B visa increases. And guess what? H-1B visa is a first step for you to either, continue your career in US, to make money, or even for the green card. So these elements you cannot forget. Now, why am I also emphasizing international brand pull? I am talking about international brand pull because things are little changing today. Today, for example, as I said, there's a brain drain, but there's also a reverse brain drain. So now what is happening is there are quite a few people who are coming back. Now, when you do come back, believe me, whenever you apply to any company, they are going to ask you which college have you done your studies in. And if the name of the college is oof, then obviously you can negotiate better salaries and get better jobs. And the beauty is these good colleges which I talk about, the top 60, 70 probably in US, are colleges with strong brand name, and therefore they do have a good brand value addition to your resume to in case you plan to take up job opportunities outside the US. So do not actually miss on this, alright? Now before I go forward, because the agenda point was not to just stop, but that agenda point was to see how to improve the chances of getting good colleges. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about what are the parameters colleges will basically look for. But before that, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking few questions, because let's not forget the whole purpose of a live session is to help you get your doubts clarified on a real-time basis. So let me parallelly turn this side because my laptop is here, right? The first question that has been asked is from Jalal, who asked, does backlog history affect master's admission? Okay, how bad is backlog as a concept? In India, backlog is a very, very bad concept, because in India, unfortunately, we believe the fact that if you fail once, you are prepped for failure all your life. Now, if you were to look at developed countries, however, the belief is that as long as you finally passed, okay, that means you have actually got the threshold of knowledge. Therefore, backlogs don't actually hurt you so much. But yes, understand the fact that backlog is still considered to be a negative. So when you start attacking top colleges, now what is happening is you are competing with someone else who probably has everything that you have and then does not have the backlog. Obviously, he or she has an advantage. So will backlog hurt? Yes. But does that mean that if you do have backlog, you can never actually compete with them? No. You need to do something extra to make your application strong. Can that be done? Yes, and yes, I will be discussing that as a process of that. But having said that, too many backlogs, Jalil, I believe that's your name, will impact you because it will hurt you during the visa time. Unfortunately, when you do go for application for visa interview, what is going to happen is that they probably will ask you about your backlogs if that comes to their notice. But the beauty is if you do get admission to good colleges, visa people don't care, alright? So bear that in mind. I have one more question that has been asked, and this question is asked by Vijay Krishna, who is saying, can I know the amount I should spend on my MS to study in US by qualifying in GRE? Alright, the beauty about US is it's like Mumbai, okay? What is Mumbai? You can survive in Mumbai with 30-40 rupees of, I don't know, probably 50 rupees per day of food. You have pav bhajis, you have vada pav, etc. on the street, which are filling and okay in quality. But at the same time in Mumbai, you will also find 5-star hotels and 6-star hotels and probably 7-star hotels where you eat one banana and then you become bankrupt too. The same thing is there for US. You have fees range in a big way. Now, the most expensive you could probably do for your MS will go as much as 60 to 70 lakhs. But on an average, as long as you have about 20 lakhs, you should be able to manage it. Remember, this 20 lakh is not necessarily a free cash. It is also inclusive of the bank loan that you are able to raise. Now, please make it a point to watch my other videos which are there in this YouTube channel, where I have actually talked about how to reduce the cost. For example, in US there are public colleges and private colleges, and public colleges are cheaper than private colleges. Rural colleges are cheaper than urban colleges. Similarly, certain states are expensive, like New York is expensive, California is expensive. Now there are certain other states which are not expensive. So you can actually reduce the cost by selection of the college, selection of the state, but more importantly, fighting for scholarships. Okay? And how to win scholarship is also something which I will be covering here. I'll take one more question before I proceed with this, and then I will shuffle between the presentation I have in hand and the question. I have Atul Anand who is asking me this question. I am in my final year of mechanical engineering and aspiring for MS. Please guide me on how to prepare and what country should I focus on. Sir, what is the scope of doing MS in mechanical engineering in US? Atul, good question, because quite often mechanical engineers by default believe the fact that Germany is the country they should prefer. And I am against Germany. Not because the education is not beautiful, education is fabulous, education is not very expensive, but because jobs are a problem. Okay? And remember, I keep saying when you're selecting a country, you need to remember the job part of it. Now there is a video of mine on that in this YouTube channel. Please make it a point to watch that. Now as far as US is concerned, the point is very simple. US is the biggest economy. So are mechanical engineering jobs there? Yes. Are mechanical engineering jobs as numerous as IT jobs? Bullshit. No, that's not possible. Even in India, if you were to look, the ratio between an IT job and mechanical engineering is pathetically low. That's the nature of the industry. Mechanical engineering companies don't need so many manpowers as an IT company does, alright? So we generally talk about IT jobs in the US, but there are quite a few mechanical engineering jobs. But the most interesting element that you need to understand is President Trump is a good news for students who are in the core areas like mechanical, electrical, civil, etc. What President Trump has done is he has pulled USA from NAFTA, which is the North American Free Trade Association which they had, which basically meant that quite a few companies, manufacturing companies have shifted their bases back into US from especially Mexico. Okay. Now President Trump has also reduced the corporate tax in US. Therefore, US unemployment rate is one of the minimum right now. So is a good news. But yes, you need to be very careful about which state to look for. For example, in one of my previous sessions, I did talk about Michigan as a very important and interesting state for mechanical engineers. You have a lot of opportunities, Atul. Be careful, however, of the colleges, and yes, we can assist you in case you need any guidance. Alright, I have Priya who says, I got 303 in GRE and 7 in IELTS. Am I eligible to get a decent scholarship in any MS university? Yes, Priya. With 303, you can get scholarship. My recommendation, however, is don't fight for scholarship. Now, why should you not fight for scholarship? Because remember, scholarships are something that are free grants that the college gives. Now, why would a college give you a free grant? They will give you a free grant only if you are one of the best students in the college. And when will you become one of the best students in the college? If you go to lower ranked colleges. And please don't do that. If funds are a problem for you, see if you can raise some debt. If you can't do so too, then prefer good colleges which are probably in cheaper states and cheaper locales, or fight for assistantship. The difference between scholarship and assistantship is, for scholarships you don't need to do anything. It's like a grant that the college is giving. For assistantship, which includes research assistantship, teaching assistantship, you have to do some work. But the beauty is you will not be compromising on the college. Please don't compromise on college. Remember, I keep saying going to US is easy, but staying and making a career in US is the challenge. Alright, let me take one more question. This is from Tejo Krishna, who says, Sir, I'm in the 3rd year of ECE of Geetham. I want to pursue Masters in Business Data Analytics. What needs to be done to improve my profile? Alright, excuse me. I will be covering this as a part of my session today, so let me hold it for that. Alright, I have KKL Rockstars. Alright, that's a very interesting name. I'm sure this is a pseudonym. Who says, Sir, please list the colleges in US. The fee cost is less than 35 lakhs. Alright, KKL Rockstar, if you have 35 lakhs, you are actually a rock star. Alright, 35 lakhs will probably cover most of the colleges that are there in US. Remember, one of the very important elements, when I did talk about the fact that the education can be expensive, it can be as much as 70-80 lakhs, I did not consider part-time jobs. But when you go to US, or for that matter any of the countries, you will be working part-time. And in US you are allowed to work for 20 weeks and for 20 hours a week legally. Alright, and therefore most of the Indians actually end up to a large extent paying for their second year of education. Many Indians also end up getting assistantship, especially the teaching assistantship by the second year. Therefore, with 35 lakhs, you probably will be able to meet all the requirements. I don't think you need to worry about it. Alright, I have Sri Vidya who is asking a question, who is saying, Sir, I am passionate to take up a research student course at MIT. Which does not accept GRE scores at all. So how strong should my profile be? Sweetheart, I am also in love with Aishwarya Rai. I am passionately in love with Aishwarya Rai. But the fact of the matter is, Aishwarya Rai will be very choosy. I cannot. The point that you need to understand is MIT is beautiful. Yes, you are right. MIT is one of the the best of the best colleges which says I don't need a GRE. And you know why it says that? It says I'm going to look at your profile in a big way. So if your profile is good, fabulous. Priya, I'm not very sure which college or which year you are from, so I will be, however, covering in this session what you can do to improve your profile. All right, do send me your profile, because I will be then be able to quickly talk about what are the chances of making it. But even if you are not able to make it into MIT, for example, I was not able to marry Aishwarya Rai. Believe me, I am happily married. So there are quite a few number of fish in the pond. Our business is to look for the best one there for us. Okay. All right. I have Raju Gopal who says, hello sir, what is the scope of MS in cybersecurity? There's a lot of confusion regarding jobs, etc. Raj Gopal, the point that you need to understand is cybersecurity, including ethical hacking. We talk about areas like big data, artificial intelligence are very exciting sector to be. But the point that you need to understand is number of jobs which are there, because these are little high-end jobs, are going to be little lesser in number. So as long as you are in a decent college, believe me, jobs are fabulous, opportunity is good for growth, and yes, these are the technologies of the future. All right, with cloud computing, etc., coming into picture, cybersecurity for all reasons have become all the more important. So yes, the opportunity is great, but remember that also depends on which college you are going to give to. To give an analogy, if I am a mechanical engineer from IIT, there's a guarantee that I will get a mechanical engineering job. If I am a mechanical engineer from a middle level college, there's a probability I will get a mechanical engineering job. But if I'm a mechanical engineer from low end college, bullshit, I will not get a mechanical engineering job. And even if I do get a mechanical engineering job, it will be a very low end job. There's a very good chance I'll end up in ordinary IT jobs. Same thing is true in US as well. Okay, I have a question from Sri Vidya says, what all career options can I have after coming back to India in the field of research in biology? Alright, Sri Vidya, unfortunately India is not doing tremendous amount of research in biology, which is an unfortunate part. Quite a few pharmaceutical companies have taken a lead in that. There are a few other organizations which are doing research, but unfortunately India is still not very strong. So I don't think you should really consider coming back to India immediately. What I would suggest is do some research work there, create a brand name, and then look for opportunities. And I don't see any reason why you can't get opportunities in companies like World Bank also. They do tremendous amount of work. WHO, let's not forget that, that's the biggest that we have. So you do have opportunities, but unfortunately, as I said, in biology, India sucks currently. Okay. Okay, I have Pranav who is asking me this question. Sir, I am in the third year as a computer engineer. Should I go to MS after the fourth year, or should I get a job of 1 year experience? I am confused, please help. Pranav, remember, you are looking for MS, you are not looking for MBA. MBA work actually helps you improve your profile. In MS, work actually might not help you improve the profile. Especially so if you end up in the mass recruiting companies like TCS, Wipros and Infis that we talk about. MS is research oriented. So if you are telling me that after the fourth year you will get a job in a research organization, then yes, go ahead, get that and then leverage that to improve the profile. But fact of the matter is, most of the colleges in US don't ask for job profile, and you really don't need it. Now if you were to look at majority of the students from leading colleges including IITs, they go for higher education for doing their MS in US, in spite of the fact that they do get very decent jobs in India. Alright. So my suggestion is, if you are very sure that you want to do your MS, do it as early as you can. But yes, a point of caution, I don't know your profile. If your profile is not as good, then it might actually make sense to work for a couple of years, improve the profile, but remember, the job has to be the right job, and then apply for MS to a good college and make a career in life in US. Alright, I have Ansari asking me this question. Good evening sir, good evening Ansari. I want to pursue MA Economics from LSE, which type of profile is required? Alright, again when you talk about LSE, it's one of the top colleges that you are looking for in economics. It's the mouth-watering college. When I talk about your research, I have a student of mine who recently went to LSE, but let's not forget, her profile was beautiful. She was one of the toppers, gold medalist from Visakhapatnam College, St. Joseph's, I believe. And then more importantly, she had done some internship exercise as a part of the World Bank. Okay. Now, people do that. So, I'm not sure. But again, even if you're not able to make it into London School of Economics, my suggestion is there are many other colleges which are there, both in US, in UK of course, which you could consider. Remember what I said earlier, you might not get the best of the best, but your business is to see that you get the best of what your profile is there. And my attempt has always been to improve that. For example, when a student comes to me, especially for advice, when they do subscribe to our international admission consultancy thing, I keep telling them, look, I can't guarantee you the rank number 1 college, but I can guarantee you the best college that you can otherwise get with anyone's assistance. Alright, remember that point. Alright, let me quickly go back to answering this one question that many people have asked. The question that they have asked is, how do I improve the profile? So let's try to understand, what do the colleges look for? Especially when you go to top colleges. Remember, top colleges, you're going to compete with the best of the best students. Now you might say, I have 315 in GRE, so I've done well. I have 330 in GRE, I've done well. You say 330, there's going to be one more idiot who is going to say, I have 335. You know, that is the problem of competition that we talk about. But as you go up the ladder, you need to tick many boxes. The things that you need to remember is academic excellence has to be there. Statement of purpose has to be strong, or otherwise known as SOP. Letter of recommendation has to be strong, otherwise known as LOR. You need to prove that you have a research inclination, and of course your test scores in GRE, IELTS or TOEFL or whichever the college asks for has to be strong. Why am I saying that? Remember, some time back I did talk about MIT and I said MIT does not require GRE. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's see what are the mistakes people do and why do people screw up big time. When we talk about academic excellence, why do students lose out? They lose out because of lack of awareness on percentage cutoffs. If you were to surf the net and look for the requirement of top colleges, top college will probably say, I need, let's say, 3.3 GPA. Now 3.3 GPA roughly goes to 66 and probably around 80-85% of your graduation marks. And what happens is, therefore, people normally think that because they don't have it, they cannot get it, and therefore they don't apply. Now this is where you need to be very careful, alright? What are the elements of care? What is that you need to do to tick? What should you do? The first thing you need to understand is, understand what the college is saying. College is not asking you your overall percentage, okay? Most of the colleges look for your scores in your junior year and senior year, which means out of the 4 years of engineering, and if it's a 3 years of degree that you talk about, the final 2 years are the ones that the colleges focus on. That is point number 1. I say this because I know of many of my students who have screwed up their first year because of whatever freedom they get in the college, and then they do improve. You do have a chance. Remember that. Second, when colleges say they need 3.3 GPA or 3.5 GPA, that is only an indicator, which means you may not have that. You might still get admission because you have something else to compensate for that. So don't immediately say you will not be able to do it. Now believe me, people who have succeeded in life, big people who have become great in life are those who have not subscribe to that belief that I cannot get it. You need to really sit with some expert, look at your marks, and then try to see how to whether you have a chance or not. But that is not the only thing. Focus on specialization. This session, what I'm doing is I'm sharing what I do when I analyze someone's profile and help them get an admit. Whenever a student comes to me and let's say the academic profile is not very good, what I do is I take the mark sheet and I start looking at the marks. One, of course, I focus on the marks during their junior year. Junior year is the pre-final year and the senior year is the final year, alright? The second thing I do is, even if I see percentage is less, I start looking for subjects where the percentage is more. And then in those subjects, I see what specialization is much more suitable. So you are a mechanical engineer. I'm just giving an example, okay? And you have not actually scored tremendously well. But if I were to notice the fact that you're done well in the area of thermodynamics or the subjects related to thermodynamics, I then recommend students to apply for MS in those areas. Now you may ask, but sir, I'm not interested in that area. That's the beauty of it. The SOP that I develop for that area, but we look for colleges which give you MS in mechanical engineering, not thermodynamics. Which means once you go there, whichever area you want to specialize, you can go ahead and do so, because that's a function of what is the area of thesis that you do. Okay? So these are various things that can be done. So do make it a point to analyze your mark sheet. If you believe the fact that you don't have the minimum requirement as required by good colleges, all that you need to do is search a little bit. Believe me, you will be able to get some ideas out of that. Okay, there is something like a WES evaluation. Now, this is also something that many students discount or are even not aware of. Now, WES is an organization. What it does is it takes an Indian mark sheet and then converts an Indian mark sheet to an American mark sheet. What does it mean? If you look at an Indian mark sheet, either it's out of percentage out of 100 or GPA out of 10. Okay. Now, US does a GPA out of 4. Now, what they do is they take your mark sheet and then they convert it in an American scale. And the beauty is it's not proportional, which means if you have 75% marks, WES evaluation can result in your GPA coming to around 3.2 or 3.3 as well. So remember, 3 out of 4 is what is 75, but WES normally Indian education system tends to increase it. Why am I saying normally? Because there are times when WS evaluation actually reduces basis the university you are in. So what WS does is it looks at the evaluation of the university, the record of the marks distribution. If it realizes the fact that you come from a university where marks are being distributed big time, then your scores might actually come down. And if they do come down, then dump the WS evaluation. Don't even talk about it. But if the scores go up, then use it. Now, I have a lot of students who come from JNTU Kakinada, JNTU Hyderabad, Geetham University, etc. Now, in all these universities, WS evaluation will make your scores jump up. So, you should probably be looking at it. Yes, there are certain limitations. For example, WS evaluation requires minimum 7 semester scores. So, that is something that we will be guiding you as and when time comes. So, how should you? The first important thing is academic excellence required? Yes. I also talked about the fact that don't worry too much about backlogs. Even that can be offset. The third thing that you need to remember is how do you improve your outlook, college's outlook of your marks if your marks are a little less. This is where I talked about the choice of specialization basis. That area where you've done well will help, WS evaluation will help. Now let me go forward and talk about the second very important thing, SOP. Why am I talking about SOP? I am talking about SOP because many people screw this up royally. Most of the SOPs I read written by the students are an exhibition of English. They are flurry. You know, something like Abhimanyu telling his mother, telling her was, I learned how to break the Chakravyuh when I was inside my mom's tummy and she was discussing. Bullshit. Don't make it flurry. It should be crisp. What are the mistakes people do in SOP? Number one, it's not an exhibition of English. Your English has already been tested. English has been tested through IELTS. English has been tested through GRE. Second mistake, do not plagiarize. Remember, quite a few people, what they do is they actually take their seniors SOP or change a little bit here and there, or they take 2-3 SOP and they believe that by mixing it up, they have made an original stuff. Remember, today there are technologies whereby it's very easy to know what percentage of a document has been copied verbatim from a set of other documents too. Plagiarism is a strict no. Don't hesitate seeking help, and even if that means paying for it, but please see to it that you are going for original SOP. Sense of ghostwriting. Now this is a third screw up that happens. The beauty is today students are aware of the fact that when they are investing 35 lakhs, why not pay a little bit and get the SOP written? Congratulations. Am I going to say no to that? No. Improve your profile, and a well-drafted SOP, even if you're taking assistance of others and doing it, is fine. In fact, I write SOP for quite a few of my candidates. But when I write my SOP, I'm a little careful. What am I careful? I look at the written score a student gets in AWA of GRE as well as the written score of IELTS. Please appreciate, if a student gets an AW score of 3.5 in AW and the SOP is so beautifully written in perfect English, it's very easy for the college to know the fact that it has been ghost written. The meaning of the word ghost written is someone else is writing in your name. No way. The moment the college believes the fact that the SOP is not written by the student, it's a strict killer. Alright? So see to it that you're engaging those experts who understand this and they write SOPs basis your profile and your abilities. That is another mistake that people do. Wrong focus. MS is not MBA. In MBA, when SOPs are written, and yes, SOPs are required even for MBA, then I tell my students, talk about different dimensions, talk about your social contribution, talk about your leadership, talk about your team spirit, talk about your extracurricular activities, talk about your hobbies, talk about your academics. But there's a big difference between MS and MBA. MBA is generalist, MS is specialist. In MS, what matters? Research matters, research matters, research matters. Research is the only goddamn thing that matters. And therefore, even your academic should be somehow linked to that. So don't try to make an SOP where you talk about how great you did in social contribution. You can mention, I'm not saying don't mention it, but don't elaborate it so much. Okay, so that is a wrong focus which I'm talking about. So what is that you should do to tick this element? First thing, be focused. Talk about what the college wants. It's very easy to know about what the college wants. All that you need to do is, speak to experts like us or do a little bit of research on the website. It should be crisp, but it should be not plagiarized. It should be original. Don't try to write an SOP which is a 3-pager. They don't have time, or don't try to make it too verbose. It should be crisp, but original. It should be not a resume. It should be storytelling. Make SOP interesting for the admission committee to read. It should be in a form of storytelling. There has to be a structure that is there. Alright. Sometimes I keep telling my students, use simple languages if you can. Personalize through what you would do there. Quite often people talk only about the past. You should talk about the past, obviously, because past creates a credibility for you. But that cannot be the only thing. Especially when you're looking at top colleges, see to it that you're talking about what you will do there. So what I normally do when I am writing an SOP is, and I know that the student is looking for certain colleges, I also do a research on what sort of research is happening in that college and include that to personalize it. Whenever you're writing a love letter, don't write a generic love letter. A love letter that can be given to one girl and the same love letter can be given to another girl, that's a bullshit love letter. The same thing is true here. SOP, there should be an element of personalization, especially when you look for top colleges, and do see what sort of research they're doing, who are the professors who are doing the research, what sort of lab facilities they have, and write a little bit in the SOP. Okay, let's look at where do students screw up in letter of recommendation. One of the first screw up I notice, and the reason why students they actually miss out on top colleges is they choose the wrong faculty members. Sometimes I get students who say, sir, I will get a recommendation from my HOD, head of the department, but he has not taught me. Yeah, if the professor has not taught you, how can you get recommendation? Because at the end of the day, professor should know you. And no, I'm not just talking about I know you, hi Abdullah, how are you? He should know about your ability to do study, ability to do work, closely looked at you. So first screw up that happens is wrong choice of faculty. Second, many of these faculty members, they unfortunately and truly, at the end of the day, I understand their problem too. Many students ask for LOR. So guess what happened? They have a stock LOR where they just change the name sometimes. You know what? I've seen some LORs given to a boy student which uses the word har. Because the name was changed, but gender was not. So the point that you need to understand, these are what we call as stock LORs, ready-made LORs where a little bit of change, those LORs will not get you a lot of weightage. LORs cannot be verbose. Now, I recently got a student of mine who I had given him an LOR, he was one of my candidates for international admission consultancy, and he gets back to me and says, sir, my friend's LORs are lengthy, sir. Do appreciate the fact that US colleges understand the fact that professors don't have so much time. No professor, unless and until either you are a great James Bond, or the professor has nothing else to do, Vela. Understand that. They will not give a huge LOR. In fact, I do know of few professors who have given one LOR. You will be, and the one statement in the LOR, which will be, you will be happy selecting him. That's it. But of course, the professor's name has to be great for such a LOR to sell. So please see to it that don't draft an LOR which is too lengthy. Just don't be of the impression that the more the professor praises you, he is intelligent, hardworking, teamwork, you are going to win the show. That's not actually going to happen. Excuse me. Now, focus only on LOR statement. What does this mean? As I did say, one of the reasons for the screw up is also because it uses a lot of adjectives as hardworking, etc. That's wrong. What is that should be done to improve the chances of thing? One, choice of faculty. Please go for faculty who have taught you and know you well. So the credibility has to be established. Take the LOR in the letterhead even if you are scanning and uploading them. Email ID has to be, if possible, the college email ID rather than Gmail, etc. of the faculty. Subjects taught have to be indicated, and these subjects have to be chiefly during the junior year or senior year. Alright. Okay, use to strengthen SOP. Now this is the very important thing that I tell my students. What I do when I am drafting an LOR is I look for certain big points of SOP which I know the student does not have a proof, and then include them in the LORs. Remember, what is an SOP? If I were to give my SOP, it's all about me saying I'm a James Bond. But when a professor gives an LOR and he says, yes, Abdullah is a James Bond, now the weightage is going to be more. So LOR should basically strengthen the SOP. Quite often I have noticed the fact that students come with LOR and then they ask me to draw the SOP. It doesn't work that way. That is not going to be the right way. So you need to be very careful about the whole thing. First comes your profile, then comes your SOP, and then comes your LOR. Remember that. Okay, and rating matters. Why am I saying rating matters? Majority of the students believe the fact that only what is being written, which is either couriered or uploaded, is the only thing. No. Top colleges, in addition to that, ask for ratings on certain parameters. For example, it will ask questions on a scale of 1 to 5, rate the student on hard work, on ability to do innovative thinking, or presentation skills. The parameters will change from college to college. You need to be careful. It's not just that write-up which is important, even this limit is important. Now sometimes students go to a professor they know well and then they tick 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. You tick all 5s, you are screwed. Remember the fact that you don't want to give an impression that the professor is in love with you. At the same time, your academic profile does not in any way indicate the reason why the professor is in love with you. So 5 is important, but 5 is important in certain important parameters. For example, if the written ability is there and spoken ability is there, probably, and the professor is being asked to evaluate, I'll probably advise the professor, go for 5 for written ability, probably 4 in spoken ability is good enough. Because as a researcher, writing skills are important. So you need to also therefore not just get the right professors or giving LOR, you should also select the professors in such a way where you can influence them a little bit. Yeah, learn to butter your professors a little bit. Alright, sweetheart, networking is a very important element of life. So I am not telling you to do anything wrong. These are skills that you need to learn. Winning over a professor is not a joke, it's not an easy thing, but that's something that you need to learn because today professor, tomorrow boss. Let's not forget that. Let your questions keep flowing so that if there are any questions, I will be able to take it up. I have a question that has been asked by Rahul Kiran who says, I am studying mechanical engineering finally and I would like to join MBA abroad. Can you please suggest me what is next? Rahul, if you were to looking for MBA abroad, US probably will not be a good idea. The reason is very simple. Most of the good colleges in the US will demand work experience. The best country that I can recommend right now would be UK for MBA because UK is a center for management. But more importantly, if you have not watched this video of mine, please make it a point to watch it in my YouTube channel of Conduira WWEC. There was a policy change that has taken place in United Kingdom whereby Indian students can now get 2 years of post-work visa, which is a big positive news, and therefore I would probably suggest MBA in UK. Yes, my first preference would always be an MBA in India because for freshers, India rocks. But the negative aspect, of course, is to get into a good college in MBA, you need to be cracking an examination called CAT, and that's not an easy one to bell. Okay, so UK might not be a bad idea. And once again, be very careful what specialization that you're looking at MBA to. Alright, you can get in touch with me in case you need any guidance. Alright, I have Rohan who is asking, hi, I am currently studying second year of petrochemical engineering. I want to do MS in petroleum engineering. I don't know what exactly to do, so please help me. Rohan, congratulations for one very important reason, because you are only in the second year and there seems to be a degree of vision that you seems to be having on your future. Rohan, what you need to be doing is over the next 2 years, build a good profile. Building a good profile basically means what is something that I am explaining here, and I'll repeat it at the end of the thing. Alright. US has fantastic colleges in when it comes to petrochemical, especially if you look at Alaska and Texas, they rock. Alright, let me go back to this and talk about other things that you need to be careful about. And this is where, Rohan, I'm going to be talking about what you need to do. Research inclination. Many people don't understand what is MS. MS and MTech are not the same, point number one. And no, if you were to tell me MTech is what India gives and MS is what US gives, that's bullshit, because India also gives MS. Most of the IITs give both MTech and MS. The difference between MTech and MS is MTech is more application oriented, MS is more research oriented. Therefore, one of the very important things that you need to do, and that probably answers even the question of Rohan, is you need to build a research profile during your graduation. Okay, so what exactly can you do? Number one, focus on your SOP and LOR. Whatever research profile you're developing, if you're already in the final year or you finish your graduation, nothing much can be done about it, but see to it that you are writing the SOP and getting some things written through your professor in LOR, which shows your research inclination a little bit. But in case you do have some time, then one of the very important things that you can do is to show the fact that you're a self-learner, because one of the very important qualities of a researcher is that self-learning. Now you may ask, what is that I can do? For example, Rohan asks, but what can I do? The answer is very simple. There are a lot of online courses which you can subscribe to through Coursera, so edX, etc., where you have courses being done by experts both in the industry and from academia. And I'm not talking about professors from India alone, I'm talking about top professors, including professors from MIT, Columbia, Stanford, doing such things. All that you can do is you can actually subscribe to their courses and pay a little bit of money if you need the certification. Go ahead and do that. I keep saying, don't ever be penny wise and pound foolish. You are going to spend shitload of money, alright? So don't try to cut corners as much. So go ahead and pay for these courses, but try to go for online courses more, for a simple reason: it shows self-learning as an important thing. To answer therefore what Rohan has asked, all that I would have recommended big time would be over the next 2 years, do the right set of courses. Don't do ordinary courses, do a little advanced courses so that you are showing value add. But that is not the only thing. There is one more thing: selection of project, internship and publication. When you are a graduating student, see to it that you are selecting the right internship. Right internship would mean internship which is being done in companies where there's a little bit of research happening. For example, DRDO, ISRO, alright? For example, even startups, for God's sake. There's a tremendous amount of work happening, good work happening in startups. Unfortunately, many students do internship for the sake of internship. For example, I know many students joining All India Radio. What the shit for? Alright? So that ticks the box, but that doesn't actually add value for MS. Similarly, when I talk about projects you do, try to do projects which are use a little bit of research. Try to do projects in the area where you want to do your master's in. That will add weightage, because in a way you're telling the college, look, I'm interested in that area, and more importantly, the proof is I've done something in that area. Similarly, publication. Publication is a big plus. Don't be of the opinion that as a student you cannot get publications. People do that in IEEE journals, etc. Do speak to your seniors. Do speak to your professors, because in most of the colleges, professors are these days required to publish n number of papers. And why not? You can also become a second author, and if your publication is in good journal, the impact factor is good, the weightage is tremendous. So Rohan, to answer this question, these are the things that you need to do over the next 2 years. Let me take one more question. Venkat is asking UK. Alright, I have Sachin who is saying, I am currently in the second year of CSE in a tier 3 college. I want to pursue my MS in USA. I have a budget of 50 lakhs. Can you suggest college? I am an average student. Sachin, remember the fact that I did my master in engineering from a tier 3 college. I did my masters from a tier 1 college. That's a different issue. The point of the matter is, don't worry about where you have done your bachelor's in, improve your masters. What is that you should do? Try to see to it that you build a profile, like I said. Try to see to it that you are getting a decent enough GRE score, etc. And then don't worry about colleges. You are a really a rich man. Zindabad to you. 50 lakhs is a tremendously beautiful amount of money. So the whole set of colleges across the world are open to you. Okay? But I can't just suggest a college because I don't know the fit. I don't know what area of specialization it is, in what subjects you have got good marks, etc. So it's not very easy for me to dump set of colleges. That's not the way I do it. Normally in Conduira WEC, what we do is when we're selecting the college, we look for the match in a multiple ways. Alright, I have Sri Vidya who is asking me this question. Can I post my profile so that you can suggest any changes. Yes, Srividya, you're always welcome to do so. I have Vinayak asking, I have less GPA, can my GRE score, some research paper, experience in relevant field, good SOP in LOR, will it get me to good universities? Answer is yes. Remember one very important thing, US or for that matter any good country, developed country will not reject you only on basis of one screw up in life. Unfortunately, India does. It's changing, but not so much. In India, if you screwed up your LKG from day number 1, your teacher will say you're a bad, and the beauty is we convince ourselves we are bad. Please don't worry if this one screw up that happens, you just need to do something else. So what you have mentioned in terms of better GRE score, blah, 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 yes, it will help you tremendously, okay? I have also done 2 certification, good for you Vinayak, but I hope the certification is in the area where you wish to do your research in, and more importantly in some given by good branded company or institution for that matter. Alright, let me go forward to this, and meanwhile please let your questions flowing. Test scores. Why do students lose out? Because they think GRE is out of 340. Students think GRE is out of 340. Is GRE out of 340? Bullshit, no. GRE is out of 340 plus AW score of 6. But remember, when colleges are recruiting, this is where people mistake. Colleges give more weightage for quantitative aptitude. They give more weightage not for the verbal score but for quant score. And we Indians rock in the quant side. Yes, we get screwed in the verbal, that's a different issue. The point that therefore you need to understand is the fact that if you have a good score in quant, chances are bright enough. But yes, if you are looking for the best of the best colleges, most of the students will have good score in quant, therefore verbal score also becomes important. So I am not saying that verbal score is not important. It is important, but quant score is given more weightage. Remember that. Okay? So you need to learn to sell that. Do not hesitate to write again. Yeah, if you screw up your GRE once, you screw up your IELTS once, invest that extra money and write once more down. Why am I saying that? That's the beauty of what US is. You write GRE twice. Let me give an example. First time you get 310. You are happy but you're disappointed. But you believe you can get 315. Next time you write, you get 305. Remember, you can apply with the first score. US does not say latest score. It says you tried to improve. Yes, you might not have done so, but you tried. I'm happy about it. You give me the score you wish. So remember, don't invest or don't hesitate investing a little more time and money if required if you do believe the scores can be improved, because scores do make a difference, yes. Use SOP to defend it. You know, recently I was writing an SOP for a student and his GRE score was less, and I wrote a statement saying that, look, normally I'm good in mathematics, but yes, I screwed up in GRE. Of course, I didn't use the word screw up, remember? This is an informal conversation that's happening there. I was formal. And the student was worried, sir, will that not highlight to the college that I messed up my GRE score in quant? The point that you need to understand is, college knows. Yeah, college has everything in this hand. You need to defend it. So if your GRE score is low, don't think that the college will miss it. In fact, go ahead and defend it. Nothing wrong in that. So SOP can also be used to make a difference. Remember that. Okay, and application timeline is also one thing that students miss out on. When I use the word application timeline, we do remember the fact that early application helps. The earlier you apply, the higher your probability of getting into a good college, the higher your probability of getting funding, the higher the probability of getting assistantship and scholarships. To bring it into right perspective, if you want to apply for fall 2020, fall 2020 is September 2020, when will the application window in US open? The answer, it is already opened. It opens therefore 12 months before. So if you were to apply early, you have an advantage. That does not mean you need to rush to apply. I sometimes caution my students after reviewing their profile. If I feel that the profile can be improved, I tell, take a little more time, apply a little late, but improve your profile. But if you are of the opinion that your profile cannot be improved, then bullshit. Why are you waiting? Apply. Okay? So these are the things that you need to understand. In Conduira Online, what Conduira WWEC, what do? We do lot of interaction with the kids to understand which country is right, which college is right, which course is right. For example, when this question was asked, MBA where, I specifically said UK probably will be a better bet. Similarly, Conduira is one of the biggest trainers for GRE and IELTS. We do have a complete guidance on admission processes. We do document SOPs and LOR. We also assist in visa mock interviews. Okay. In case you have any queries, feel free to go to our website conduira.wwec.com to learn a little more about us. You also, for a pre-final year students, we also recommend a big way how to improve the profile. We guide them on what to do during the third year, what to do during the fourth year, because it actually helps. Alright, this is my WhatsApp number. You can take a note of it, and if you do have any queries, you can write to me. We will be able to probably guide you on that. But the point I'm trying to make is this: profile matters. To get into the best of the best colleges, remember the best is not just by ranking per se. For example, college might be very strong in one area, might not be strong in another area. I ask you an Indian analogy. For example, which is the best institute in India for civil engineering? The best institute, which is the best master's college in India, for example? IIC Bangalore. Is it IIC Bangalore? Not necessarily. For civil engineering, it's IIT Roorkee. For refrigeration and mechanical engineering, it's probably IIT Madras. So the point that you need to understand is, just because MIT is number one overall does not make it number one in every area. Harvard is number one or probably number two in MBA, but not in other areas. In engineering, it probably comes in the top 20th rank or so. The point that you need to understand, therefore, is don't just go by the university ranking or the school ranking. You need to also go and think a little bit about where does the department work. A good department will have good funding. Good funding could result in not just attracting good companies for jobs, but they will also help you get good assistantship and scholarship. So these are all the points that you need to remember. I will be closing in sometime, so if you have any queries, please post them now. One of the beautiful things about us, as I said, is we are a team of people. Aditya Lanka, who supports me, is a person who was actually working in New York in Bloomberg. I have Venkat, who is an expert in the UK side as well as the US side. Raghav, who is an expert in Ireland. Sumant, a person from IM Kozhikode, who is an expert in Canada. So we do have a lot of experts in others people. You can write to us, seek our guidance a little bit, and then take a step that is good for you. As I said earlier, going to US is easy, it's making a career that is tough. But this is the most important decision of your life. Don't take it lightly, and don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Sometimes, as I said, if you have to write the GR again, write. If you need assistance for a good document to be done in terms of SOP, pay. But don't compromise on the college. Get your research in place and do it. Alright. With that, I will probably be closing in case there are no questions. This was supposed to be a 1 hour, and we are already done at 1 hour. What I do is on a weekly basis, we do a lot of workshops and seminars of this nature, which are something that you can access to through our YouTube channel. Please make it a point to subscribe to our YouTube channel of Conduira WWEC, and do have a look at the videos that we keep posting there. Do press the bell icon too, because you get notification on every video that we put. I have put a video on Germany, is it a good thing or a bad thing for a mechanical engineer. Very recently, I also posted a video on UK and the changes in policy, whether it's good or bad, including Brexit, whether it will make UK good or bad. Ireland, how competitive it is for computer science. MBA, which are the top countries to look for. So most of the queries that you have asked, there are already answers in that. See to it that you are able to do so. Alright, I have Srividya who is asking, I am not able to post my profile, can you WhatsApp it? Yes, Srividya, go ahead and WhatsApp it and I will revert to you. Alright, in case you need to take my WhatsApp number, this is the WhatsApp number that is there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of this evening. I hope you have benefited and enjoyed this as much as I have. Our endeavor has always been to see to it that students are ambitious enough, and we strongly believe the fact that today we are where we are is because of the education. Today, if I am standing in front of you, the confidence comes from the fact that I joined MTech in IIC Bangalore, I did my MBA from MDI Gurgaon, and guess what? All this resulted in good companies giving me job opportunities, and that is how my confidence is good. So today, if you believe your confidence is not good, if you believe your academics is screwed, worry not, because the good thing about today is we have a second fight. See to it that you're going to the best of the best colleges. I'm again saying it might not be ranked number 1 college, but go to the best college you can get. Please don't go just by statements like my uncle is there, your uncle might be anywhere. That does not mean your dream should be limited by that place. Similarly, don't just say that your seniors have gone there. Majority of us are engineers. Majority of us don't even know why the shit we got into engineering. One of the reasons why we got into engineering is because few of our seniors got into engineering, or your parents' friends' children got into engineering. And guess what? Why they got into engineering? Because their seniors got into engineering. The beauty is you can go on us. Everyone says senior, senior, senior. We never know why the first person got into engineering. In bachelor's, you can afford to make mistakes of that nature. In master's, you cannot. Tomorrow, no one is going to ask you where you've done your bachelor's. People are going to ask you where you've done your master's, so don't screw it up. And any assistance that you need, seek. At Conduira WWEC, we do help the students in getting the right country, right course and right college. Yes, you need to pay for that. But then, what comes cheap? The point that you need to understand is, don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for all of you who participated in that. If you have any queries, you can continue firing at that. I will be seeing you next time around as and when I do this workshop. As I did say, you will get a notification on this. Please make it a point to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Conduira WWEC. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Alvida, Khuda Hafiz.